Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday, LinkedIn Live. Nancy Fox of Fractional Connections. Hello and welcome to our regularly scheduled broadcast every week on Monday. I go live. We talk about all things fractional on this live broadcast, and I'm so excited because today I think many of you know that I am a niche marketing evangelist. And I keep talking about niche marketing, and very people have a lot of opinions about that, but it works. And today I have a very special guest. I have Adam Natilla with me today, who is CFO Adam to most of you. And this man has done more for personal branding and niche marketing as a fractional CFO that I've ever seen before. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. We met through LinkedIn, of course, networking, and I don't know how we found each other, but I guess at some point or other, most fractionals sort of either they find me or I find them, and I started following your posts, which are definitely unique. So I want to ask you first, and first of all, everybody notice Adam's green bow tie, which I always notice. He's always wearing it, and it's definitely part of your personal brand. Well, I'm going to talk to you more about your personal brand, but also I want to have a lot of questions about your niche direction. So the first question I have, Adam, is what's your fractional journey? How did you become a fractional CFO?
Yeah, so from 2014 to the end of 2019, I had my own accounting practice. So I was working with small businesses, doing taxes, bookkeeping, payroll. And in 2019, I was stuck. I was literally burnt out. If I never saw QuickBooks again, it would have been the greatest day of my life.
I can get.
Yeah, and I think a lot of business owners have that same feeling about QuickBooks that I do. And even being a finance person, QuickBooks isn't my friend either. So I hired a business coach, and she didn't want to let me hire her. So luckily I wore her down, and she was like, okay, we'll work together. But she's like, I've never worked with an accountant before, so I don't know exactly how this is going to go. But if you want to do this badly enough, we'll go through it. And I was like,
Why
I
didn't
don't
she
need
wait? I
you.
have a question. Why didn't she want you to? Why wouldn't she let you hire her? What was her
So she'd
limitation?
never worked with an accountant before. So her niche was she was the business coach to business coaches. So people that were just starting as a business coach, she worked with a lot of them to help them set up their processes, things like that. And where I was coming in is I didn't have a problem with the operational side. I had a problem with the mental side. So I was stuck and I couldn't see the forest for the trees. And I found her on LinkedIn, and just her posts and her energy, and I could see that she had gotten past those hurdles. I was like, well, she's already gotten past them, so she knows how to get past them. So that was what I was looking for. Is I was looking for someone to help me get past those mental barriers and those mental hurdles that I had to move forward. And in the second conversation we had, she asked me to list out all the different things I did in my business. So I was like, okay, well, I do bookkeeping and taxes and payroll and tax planning and financial strategy, and just on and on from there. She's like, okay, now take all of those things and split them into two columns. One, all the things you love, and the other, all the things you hate. And so I started listing them out. And I was like, on the love side, I'm like, I love financial strategy and helping businesses grow and tax planning and kind of all those higher level activities. And on the other side, again, if I never had to see QuickBooks again, run anyone's payroll, those are all tasks that I hate to do. And she was like, okay, well, now what you need to do is stop being an accountant for businesses and doing their taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll. And you need to become a fractional CFO for businesses and handle all of those higher level activities, the strategy, the budgeting, the forecasting, the creation of ideas, more so than the tracking of dollars and cents.
Perfect. It's amazing. See, that's the thing. So I want to underscore what I heard here is interesting. Um, and this is something that I want to underscore. I know we're talking about niche marketing today, but I want everybody to hear how Adam made a selection of somebody that he hired, because Adam, what you did was the problem that was at the forefront for you was not how to get clients or how to get referrals. You had a mind shift that you needed to make. And so the assumption that most advisors or service providers make is that they know what their potential clients want. You have to dig deeper to find out what those migraine headache, I call them the 10 migraine headaches. Your migraine headache was you needed to make a mental shift first. You had to let go of everything that you knew in the accounting space and transform. You had to transform your identity in the world, right? Awesome.
Yeah,
Really
exactly.
great. So good coaching. And notice that she didn't even work in your niche, but it worked because you were able to find each other. Think about how much better it would have been if she had said, "I work with people who are making a mindset shift." From right. See what I'm saying? Okay, but that was made. So now what happened? Then what happened?
Right. So used a business broker, sold the accounting practice.
Really?
Yep. So that closed basically January 1st, 2020.
Was it hard? Was it hard to sell it, or was it easy?
It turned out to be very easy. And that is not the norm. And especially with a service-based business where I was the business, I brought in every single client. I did all of the client work. I did everything. So, the stars aligned, and someone that their company was shutting down, they were getting some severance, they were getting some other things, but they weren't done working or being ready to be done working and to retire. So they wanted something to kind of coast off of, so that what they told me when we met for the first time is they could either build a business or buy a business, and they didn't have the time, energy, skills to want to build a business, so they bought one.
Mm-hmm. Great, awesome. So the stars aligned, and
Yeah.
now what? Then what'd you do?
So then went full in on the fractional CFO, and 2020 was what it was, and the first niche I picked was doctors. 2020 was a very interesting year for doctors because either they were essential and so they were crazy busy, or they were deemed non-essential and so they were closed. So in both of those cases, they didn't either have the first group didn't have time to talk to me, and the second group didn't have any money because they had no revenue to be able to hire me.
How did you even know to build? How did you even know to select a niche in the first place?
Yeah, so part of it was just wandering around on LinkedIn and seeing all of the experts and gurus out there. Because that was one of the things I'd not done in my accounting practice. I served anybody and everybody.
Anybody and everybody, right?
And whoever walked through the door with a checkbook or a credit card, they could become a client. And one of the pieces that I look back on now, because I didn't know, that was my first business that I'd operated, is I negotiated against myself all the time. Mm-hmm. So it was
common mistake.
What fee can I quote them that I know they'll accept because no one else is offering a fee that low.
So you played the price game, huh?
I did, yeah. So I was the discount accountant, like,
ouch.
Right, and so in 2019, my last year that I owned the practice, I did 800 tax returns myself. That is an enormous amount. That nobody should be doing that many tax returns. But it was because I built it up to that level. My first year I did like 80. So in 5 years I went from doing like 80 tax returns to 800. But that also led to my burnout that I was facing was, because I would say yes to everybody. It's like, okay, you've got a couple $100. Sure, I can do something for you. Oh, you need that turned around today? Sure, I can do that for you. And so as I started out with the fractional CFO practice, I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to price what it's worth. And the clients that can't afford it aren't ideal clients. And the ones that can't afford it and need it and want it are going to pay those fees. And, so this is a story I've told before, is that one of those initial accounting clients I had paid me $75 a month for all of their accounting work. So they paid me literally $900 a year.
Mm.
At this point, I'm charging $48,000 a year for my CFO clients. So, whatever that multiple is, like a 50x over where I was. And knowing that I needed to niche.
It's still a bargain for those companies, because if they had a full-time CFO of your caliber, they'd be paying triple or more.
Right, exactly. And the reason that I knew I needed to niche is I had taken, a couple like marketing, like boot camps, master classes, things like that. And that was basically one of the pieces of advice in there was, pick a niche and just go with it so that all your messaging aligns, you're speaking to someone instead of to everyone. And so, when I was looking at, all the different industries that, that I could have chosen, I had a background with medical. So back in the day, I was an actuary. I worked for health insurance companies. So I knew that side of the world and how, the contracting and everything like that works between the provider and the insurance company. And then when I had the accounting practice, I had several doctors as clients. So I was doing their books and taxes. And so I was like, okay, I get kind of like, I understand the whole spectrum of what they deal with. So I can speak to them on all of that kind of stuff. And on top of that, doctors make good money. And so they can afford the fees that I'm charging at this point. Well, obviously 2020 threw its own, giant curveball. So unniched and kind of went back to more of the generic, like, I'm a fractional CFO, I can work with anyone. That didn't work at all because I wasn't talking to anybody in particular. Then I tried to use the terminology from the book Traction and the entrepreneurial operating system of integrators and visionaries. I'm very much an integrator. So tried that for a little while, but that didn't really catch on either. And then about a year and a half ago, I had a couple referrals from my LinkedIn network. Both happened to be marketing agencies. So, met with them. They decided to hire me. So I was like, okay, obviously something about what I'm talking about here is working. So this is the new niche. So redid the website, redid all my messaging, all my content to focus on that, and and went after it. And within a couple of months, 2 more signed on. So I was like, okay, this is working. The messaging is working. The client is understanding what I'm offering to them.
And they want it. The more important thing is they understand it, but they're hungering for it.
Yeah.
It's the hunger factor in a niche is very important. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think you can pick a niche like doctors, but if they're not hungry for it, what's the point? You got to find very hungry people so that you can feed them exactly the morsels they want.
Right. Exactly. And they're, because, and a lot of these marketing agency owners are creatives.
Yes.
And the furthest thing from any creative's mind is the finances. So I bring in that nice combination.
That's amazing. So many business owners get into business for the product or services that they love and hate the finances, which is really the heart and soul of the business. And you love it. So you're a great partner for them. It's really so. So what would you say? This is a really fascinating conversation, because I do not think that many fractional CFOs think strategically the way you do. And it is a big, all they do is they pitch their services at people and they all sound the same. And what would you say to them, given that you've gone through this journey now?
Yeah, the biggest piece is it's that empathy and knowing that they're doing the best they can with the skill set they have and the time that they have to be able to give to it. And because what they're doing isn't, they don't have a financial background in a lot of cases. They don't, know QuickBooks that well in a lot of cases, but they're doing the best they can with it. And meeting them there and saying, okay, perfect. you've got this baseline understanding. Fabulous. I'm going to complement that. I'm going to build upon that, and I'm going to reframe things a lot. So instead of looking at all these things straight on, we're going to tilt to the side like 5 or 10 degrees and look at it like this. And you're going to see a whole different view of your finances. You're going to see a whole different view of what's actually driving profit for you. And that's going to make you able to make better decisions at the end of the day.
And so when you decided to focus on the niche of marketing agencies, how did it actually play out in your own marketing, in your own business development efforts? What did you actually do with that awareness and that decision?
Yeah, the biggest piece is when I'm making, we'll call them outbound, like LinkedIn connection requests and things like that. That's the focus. So, at this point, probably 8 out of 10 of the people that I connect with on LinkedIn are marketing agency owners or, co-owners, partners, etc. Because those are the people I want to speak to. Now, am I still going to connect with other people? Absolutely. Because, the people that referred me, those initial couple agencies, one was a financial advisor, one was a virtual assistant. So, there's things like that where still having that network of other professionals there makes a difference, and having that network to be able to say, hey, oh, you need one of these? Oh, talk to CFO Adam. And, that's a piece that I think a lot of people miss is like, oh, I'm only going to connect with my niche. I'm not going to connect with anyone else because they're not ever going to be a client of mine, and there's no way that they can help me. And the opposite is the absolute truth.
But the thing is, you have to educate your referral circle about what to listen for and what to look for. So very interesting that you're saying this, and you brought it up. In the Fractional Connections community that we just launched, I'm about to, in early January, I'm going to be doing a panel discussion with 3 fractional executives, all of whom independently created what I call the magic referral circle. And the magic referral circle are all the people that for example, that your marketing agency business owners go to first to get help. And so that magic referral circle is the key to, and you actually just mentioned it, that there are certain people who are very likely to be the conduit to your exact niche market. But you have to really be thoughtful about it, and you have to think about it, and you have to create it, and you have to nurture it and water it and all of that. And so it's all these kinds of strategies are things that I think many fractionals never think about when they go fractional. They don't think about it. It's only when they get stuck that they realize that they need to start to pivot and to learn different kinds of different strategies and tactics to turn things around the way you did. Fortunately, you're sharing your school of hard knocks with us so that we can learn from you. So now that we know, and then by the way, the last thing I want to say is now everybody notice, we're now going to be listening for all the marketing agencies. We know who to send to Adam, right? See, makes it so easy for us to be your referral engine. So Adam, is there anything else you want to add to this discussion today?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things you just mentioned is that kind of referral circle. So previously, when I was running an accounting firm, other accounting firms were my competition. I consider them colleagues. But now they're a potential referral source for me, because if they're only offering accounting services, they're not offering fractional CFO work, I can come in, white label or not, and stack on top of what they're doing. And so, I've found several of those people already where it's like, I don't want to do any of the accounting work. So I need to find someone to, when my clients ask for that, to ship it to.
And they're thrilled with that because that's what they are so programmed to do. And they really, not all, I would say that all CFOs know accounting, but not all accountants know business. They understand the ledger sheets, but not the strategic side of business. You are a unique entity. So it's awesome to have this conversation with you. And I mean, there are a lot of other things we can talk about. Probably in the future we will. Adam loves, you're a golfer and you're a personal brander, and you like, what's the popcorn you like?
Oh, candy corn.
Candy corn.
The best Halloween candy in the world is
Candy
candy corn.
corn. But it's very interesting the way you've really communicated your energy in the marketplace. So I really want to thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so if you search for the hashtag CFO Adam, that finds me on pretty much any social media. So especially here on LinkedIn, but I'm also on Instagram and a little bit on TikTok here and there. So,
Oh, good.
And then my website is adamkae.com.
Excellent. We're going to post that in the comments, but just notice how Adam has thoughtfully created a hashtag for himself. And, all CFOs are not just about the numbers. And thank you so much for sharing your journey, your story. It's been really great learning from you and hearing from you and getting to know you and becoming friends with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was good.
It's been my pleasure. And everybody, just to let you know, to remind you, a few things coming up from Fractional Connections. Number one, we have actually launched the community. Please, please, please go visit us at fractionals.ai/FC community. We've got amazing benefits and values for you in the community. There's a lot to learn, a lot to collaborate on. We're just beginning, and if you want to become a founding member, the doors will open on January 2nd, so join us before then. And then, of course, we have our upcoming virtual speed networking event on January 5th, but you will need to become a Fractional Connections community member in order to attend future events, but you are most welcome. So Adam, thank you again, and thank you everybody, and I will see you next week for another installment of Fractional Connections LinkedIn Live. Bye-bye.